This is Laura Vanderkam. I'm a mother of 5, an author, journalist, and speaker.
And this is Sarah Hart-Unger. I'm a mother of 3, a practicing physician, and blogger on the side. We are 2 working parents who love our careers and our families.
Welcome to Best of Both Worlds. Here we talk about how real women manage work, family, and time for fun. From figuring out childcare to mapping out long-term career goals, we want you to get the most out of life. Welcome to Best of Both Worlds. This is Laura. This is episode 277, which is going to be all about giving thanks. In the US, at least, it is Thanksgiving week, so we have a lot of people celebrating that. I know our Canadian listeners celebrated a few weeks ago, but we wanted to take a little bit of time to reflect on the things that we are grateful for. And not so much the big things, which we are always thankful for: our health, for our families, for having work we enjoy, but the little things, because, people who do start gratitude practices find that if you're going to write down 3 things you're grateful for every day, it can always be your health, your family, your career, whatever it is that you enjoy. And that makes you feel a little bit like this is routine after a while. You want to remind yourself of the new things, the little things that you might not notice otherwise. And by paying attention to these, we can create a far more optimistic, hopeful mindset. So we are actually recording, if this sounds a little bit different, we're recording from a hotel room in the Florida Keys. Sarah and I are together. We are certainly grateful for that experience.
Very grateful for that experience. If this episode inspires you, perhaps you could take a moment afterwards and just use it as your excuse to write down all of the things that are making you very grateful in this season.
Exactly. We are definitely grateful that this Best of Both Worlds retreat happened. There was some doubt whether it would or not as Hurricane Nicole hit Florida right before I was flying down, but it turned out we could fly around it. My plane took off and landed with no problem whatsoever. We were warned that there would be significant turbulence, but I was grateful that it was only moderate and intermittent.
And thankfully, I don't think Nicole turned out to be such a
No, it was nowhere near as devastating as the earlier ones this year. So we are all grateful for that as well. So in this episode, we'll start by talking about Thanksgiving holiday. I mean, we both celebrate Thanksgiving. Sarah, you usually celebrate with your Florida relatives, right?
Yes, it is a very big holiday on that side of the family. So I'm a little sad that I haven't gotten to spend too many Thanksgivings of my adulthood reliving the Thanksgiving of my childhood, but you can only have it one way or the other, I guess. I have brought my parents down to join us in South Florida on a few years running. This year, we're doing our own thing. So yes, we will be home for Thanksgiving. And my Thanksgiving favorites as a child were my mom's crescent rolls. I think I would have been happy just eating that for Thanksgiving dinner. She laboriously would make them. I think she usually froze them ahead of time. And Mom, if you are listening, we would love the recipe.
It was like a family secret that she hasn't shared with you yet.
I don't think it's a secret. I just don't think I've ever asked for it because I haven't actually made crescent rolls or anything close to crescent rolls in my life, but maybe it's time to start. Anyway, my favorite Thanksgiving thing now is definitely every pie. I love them all. I love the pumpkin. I love the pecan. In my family, I actually typically make key lime pie for Thanksgiving, which is completely untraditional, but it's also a tradition in our family and everybody expects it. And I make a really, really good one. So pie, I could just eat pie for Thanksgiving and be completely happy about it.
I think everyone could just eat the buttery carbs in the pie, which is also buttery carbs. I mean, really, that's just what we want. One of my favorite dishes. We often celebrate with my side of the family for Thanksgiving, and my sister-in-law makes some incredible rolls, some yeast rolls that could be buttery, but we have some relatives who also, in addition to me, can't eat dairy products. So she makes them with shortening, as far as I know, but it was a big family secret, her recipe for a while, I believe. It had not necessarily been shared with us. But when COVID hit and we couldn't all be together for Thanksgiving, she did a demonstration and taught us how to make them over Zoom. So that was a lot of fun. Green beans. I love green beans. We should have them more often. It's like a vegetable I actually enjoy. So I should probably just eat that every day and then I'd eat more vegetables. But I don't like the casserole. I wouldn't want to dump a cream of whatever it is, onion soup that people put on it. What is it that people do with the...
Yeah, there's little onion fried things. I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's fried onions and some cream soup based thing. And I do not do that. I just like green beans as they are. And for the turkey, I like the dark meat. I am definitely team dark meat. I only eat the dark meat, which was a sort of funny experience. My first Thanksgiving I spent with Michael. So we were dating. We were not engaged or married yet. And I went to his family to go celebrate Thanksgiving. And apparently no one in their family eats dark meat. So his mom just doesn't even serve it. She basically would just throw it out. And so I was after, I was this is so bizarre. There's no dark meat being served. And I'm went hunting for it later. And it's in the kitchen. And she, so I was become the weird girlfriend who eats dark meat. But anyway, I do enjoy it. Are you white or dark meat, or you don't care?
I could leave the turkey entirely. I don't care. I would pick dark over, I don't know. I'm not, honestly, sometimes I don't even take turkey. I just take all the other stuff. I have to save room for the pie.
Exactly. And if the turkey is taking up valuable space that could have been having pie, then maybe you haven't won. But please let us know. Are you team, white meat, dark meat, or team no turkey?
Team vegan meat.
Team vegan meat, whatever it is that you are doing to celebrate Thanksgiving, please let us know. So moving on, we're going to start talking about some things that we are grateful for. And we wanted to do this in a couple of categories. So starting with technology. Sarah, what are you grateful for in the realm of tech? I know what you are not grateful for.
What, YouTube?
YouTube.
There was a recent highly commented post in which I admitted that Genevieve is spending a lot of time on YouTube, and I think I need to stop it. And there was just a lot of heated discussion about it, which was really interesting and helpful, actually, to me. I do think we are going to try to curtail it for now, particularly for her, because I think it's doing more negative than positive. And I don't feel like I have to cut screen time entirely, but that particular genre probably needs to go.
No, watch movies instead, right?
Yeah, watch some movies, watch some TV shows, or even play some, puzzle type games. That's fine. So anyway, that was a digression, because the things that I am grateful for, every time Annabelle texts me, I'm still oh my God, Annabelle can text me. Now, Annabelle doesn't even have a phone yet, but she will text me from her iPad, as I think I mentioned on a prior episode where I accidentally shared her email address. Nobody emailed her, though.
So you all know to behave yourselves.
It's okay. No, it's just so lovely. I think it's just a nice, new facet of our relationship that I appreciate. And then the other piece of technology that I really, really have grown to count on and is we have one of the Ring doorbells, as do most people these days. And that's not even our main security system. We have other security in addition to that, but I love the Ring. I love being able to see when packages are delivered, when our nanny comes in, when the kids come in. I just like to see the comings and goings in my house and getting those alerts on my phone. I mean, some people may find them interruptive or intrusive. I don't pay that much attention to them, but I really like having that ability.
Yeah, no, it is pretty cool. I was going to say, just having the photographic evidence in general with deliveries, I am grateful for this, that Amazon sends you a picture of where they put your package. Now, if you live someplace where it is obvious what your front door is, that is probably where your package would be. But in my particular house, there are a lot of fake looking door areas, that you might leave a package, or our garage is separate from the house. And so sometimes the packages get left over there if people think that is the house itself, even though it's pretty clearly not. But sometimes that's where the packages get left. And I would have absolutely no clue where some package was. I would have to search around everywhere. But if there's a picture, I know. I'm oh yeah, that is the weird door next to the hall that nobody uses. But somehow that got chosen as the delivery spot. So yeah, that's great. I would say I'm also grateful for parenting by text. So especially as I now have a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and 11-year-old, people will often ask me questions or talk about things that maybe are coming up in their lives. And, sometimes you can have that as a conversation. I'm really grateful that my kids are willing to talk with me, which is awesome. But sometimes you don't want to have a conversation, but you can have a conversation by text. I know many of us may have sent text messages sometimes when we don't want to have a conversation, but it turns out kids do that too. But it allows you to, share any ideas or strategies or support from afar. And I like that we can do that. I know some people probably overuse it. I assume that my kids won't be asking me how to do laundry at age 25 and I'll be texting them the answer. But, for now, it's really good.
I hope not. All right. Media category. Okay. This is I already used it as my love of the week. I can't stop myself, but I got to just say Midnights because it's been on repeat. That's Taylor Swift's new album that came out about a month ago. I just love it. I'm so glad I love it. I'm grateful that I love it because when it was coming out, I was like, well, what if it's not good? Her last ones I really enjoyed. Will I like this one? And I love it. I actually am in the process of trying to get tickets for the whole family to go see Taylor Swift all together in the spring when she comes to Florida. So I'm super in it.
Super on it. I am grateful for Apple Music, which I'm sure there's probably some cheaper option or better option or whatever. I'm one of those satisficer people that when I found a music option that met my needs, I stuck with it. But it's funny to think my kids have no concept that in the past, if you wanted to hear a song, you couldn't just hear the song. You either, if it was a new release, you could go buy the album, or you could drive around in your car hoping that a radio station would play it or something. I remember occasionally doing that as a older teen. If there was a song I really liked, there was certain Alanis Morissette songs I probably was really into. But now, of course, if you think of any song from past, present, whatever, and you're like, I would like to hear that song, you can then hear that song, the vast majority of them. So I've listened to some old Indigo Girls stuff that my album was destroyed. They have scratches on them. And I was like, I want to hear that song. I can hear that song. I can hear that song right now. There's no delayed gratification whatsoever.
I also love Apple Music, and we also use the same service. I think it's great. So we've done Spotify in the past, but we decided to experiment with Apple since we all have a lot of Apple devices, and they're both good. They're both good. So my other media gratitude thing is, since we can stream all the music, we can also stream all the TV we would like. And I just love having series that my husband and I are excited to watch together. There's not that many of those actually. And so the fact that there's a new White Lotus that I kind of have on the docket to be our next series, and it probably only has 6 or 8 episodes. So it's a short-term commitment, but super excited about that.
All right. Well, let's take a quick ad break, and we will be right back talking about more things that we are thankful for. Well, we are back. We are together in a hotel room in the Florida Keys having a Best of Both Worlds retreat where we'll be recording a couple episodes, brainstorming episodes for the next few months. We, of course, welcome listener suggestions. Many of our best ideas and certainly all of our questions come from people writing us. So please feel free to do that. We have our information. You can always reach me via my website, lauravanderkam.com or lvanderkam@yahoo.com. Sarah, the shoebox the shoebox is your website. Yeah.
And then any of my emails, but you can use sarah.hart.unger@gmail.com. Might be the easiest to remember.
Yeah. So please send us your ideas and we will definitely be looking for those. So the next category we were talking about, things we are grateful for, consumables. Consumables. Sarah, you want to explain what this means?
Well, I was just trying to come up with categories and I don't know, things that get used up. So I decided that we would actually come up with one food consumable item and then one non-edible consumable item, one product per se. So I'll just go ahead. My consumable item that I am grateful for almost every day, because I eat it pretty much every day, not on this trip, sadly, but normally, is a Justin's dark chocolate peanut butter cup. I just love these. I've also enjoyed the Trader Joe's brand and the 365 brand mini chocolate peanut butter cups, but my favorite are the Justin's, the bigger ones. I like the super dark version, which my kids say is healthy because it has 5 grams of sugar. They're like, can we have it? It's healthy. I'm like, fine, eat my stash. Go ahead. And then there's also a crunchy version, which I recently discovered that has quinoa in it. It does not taste like quinoa, but it adds a nice little crunch to your peanut butter cup.
Yeah, it's like puffed quinoa, right? So it's more like Rice Krispies.
Like Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're so good. That is my consumable. My product isn't really consumable now that I'm looking at it, but it's kind of consumable because, okay, I guess I wore the same pair of Chanel sunglasses for 6 years and they were great. But for the last 2 of those 6 years, despite my attempts to get them adjusted, they just were kind of falling apart and they were falling off my face. And so I decided to replace them with much less expensive sunglasses that are sort of consumable in a way because I don't expect them to last many, many years. And I got the gooder ones because I was 100% influenced by a podcast ad, but I really, really enjoy these sunglasses. I like the fact that they actually fit my face really well, and they're a mirrored color. They look slightly like ridiculous, but they block the sun really, really well. So there you go. My somewhat disposable, lower priced sunglasses that I'm enjoying right now.
Yeah, a good pair of sunglasses is definitely something you're thankful for when the sun is like in your face, and it would make the experience incredibly uncomfortable. So my consumable that I'm grateful for right now is Maine Root Blueberry Soda. And this is like my little treat. I wind up ordering them now from Amazon/Whole Foods. They sell 12 packs. They probably sell 24 packs too, but they're kind of pricey for soda. So it seemed a little ridiculous to order 24 at a time. But anyway, I got into this because Cousin's Maine Lobster has that as their fountain drinks, Maine Root Soda. And I like their blueberries because blueberries is a very Maine thing. And, so if you're having a lobster roll, it's nice to have a Maine Root Blueberry Soda with it. And when we were this summer at the beach, there was a restaurant version of the place. Normally we're going to the food truck, but they had a restaurant there in Asbury Park. And I would order my blueberry soda fountain drink and just drink it on the boardwalk and be very happy and grateful for life. So it turned out I could recreate that experience with bottles of Maine Root Blueberry Soda. So now we have those in our fridge. So yay for that. My product is going to be a pharmaceutical one. Nexium and Zantac. That my various reflux issues appear to be mostly under control. And I will do a shout out to those lovely pharmaceutical companies for making that possible. So feeling grateful for that. All right, kid related. What do you have there? Kid related.
I was going to put a medical disclaimer first that you should consult with your own provider.
Consult with your own provider
before taking any of those medications, and that this is not a pharmaceutical endorsement. But I'm so happy that Laura has found relief with those medicines. All right, kid related. So I am grateful every time I drive my kids to an activity that's really close to our house, and just in general, the fact that most of their activities are under 10 minutes from our house, which I know is depends on where you live, but I just feel really lucky that that's available to us. And also very much like when they express interest in an activity, I look for the closest option. And I've been just really lucky to find great options within spitting distance. So just makes logistics a lot easier.
Yay, grateful for that. So I am grateful that Ruth made our 2020 photo album. So I know many people, we want to make photo albums because now all our photos are on our phones or devices and everything. And so you don't print up many of them. And in order to not have them only be electronic so that you can look through them, many of us try to create photo albums every year. And as one might imagine, you sort of get behind on occasion. And we didn't do 2020 and then didn't do 2021 and have not done 2022 yet. 2022 isn't over, but trust me, no one's done it yet. And so at some point we realized that Ruth is on my same Apple account with her iPad, so she has access to my photos. So she went through, found her favorite photos from 2020, uploaded those to Shutterfly. Shutterfly creates the book. You can click something that it'll just create the book. And then she went in and put photo captions on many of them. And so all I had to do was go in and edit a little bit, although her spelling was pretty good. And then we ordered multiple copies of the 2020 book. So now I'm like, hey, this is great. I thought maybe this was something that was going to be a lingering task on my to-do list. But one of the wonderful things about older children is they can do useful stuff, right? So hopefully she feels excited about doing 2021, 2022. And as far as I'm concerned, can do through to 2030.
That is amazing. Yeah, maybe I'll have to mention that loudly at our house, and then maybe I'll get a volunteer.
You'll get a volunteer, yeah.
Because certain people definitely love playing with layouts and fonts and Canva and any kind of similar app to that.
So. And those certain people should have their talents put to use
in
a way that is helpful for the family as a whole. Yeah. No, older kids are really great. I think about this sometimes. I know a lot of people like to complain about teens and preteens and whatever. As far as I can tell, I mean, I'm not saying we don't have any drama or moodiness or whatever, but I think they're great. I like seeing how people grow up and what they learn how to do. And the final category we want to talk about, things we are grateful for, is nature. So Sarah, what are you grateful for in the realm of nature?
I have 2 pieces of gratitude. I am very grateful that hurricane season, at least the typical hurricane season, is largely over at this point, because we had 2-day stretches of no school in the last 2 months, and I'm just ready to not think about hurricanes. So I'm so sorry for those of you who are entering snow day season, but this is our snow day season and it's about to come to an end, and I'm so excited. And then the other thing is that I appreciate it so much. Every time I go out for a run, if the temperature is under 70, I am just so happy. And hopefully I'll have more of those days in the coming months, at least if history goes. Usually by December, I'll have a lot of those days. So Can't wait.
Sounds good. My thing I am grateful for in the realm of nature is to have a little trail in our yard. So we have a wooded area. And when we bought this house, there were a bunch of dead trees on the land in various places, which, some you can leave, some you can't. Some, if they're dead trees that are still standing, like some of them need to come down so they don't come down in a way that you don't wish them to come down during a storm. But, we hired a company to chip a lot of them up. And then they took a bulldozer and went through part of the wooded area that was just kind of brush and made a trail. So they put down all these wood chips, made a little trail through it. And obviously it's not long because it's just in my yard. Like, you're not talking like miles of trail here. But it's really fun to be able to walk on it. Like, if I'm taking my 10-minute walk before 3 p.m., as I aim to move every day before 3 p.m., Tranquility by Tuesday, rule number 3, I can just go take a 10-minute walk and go outside, circle the yard. Then I get to go down the trail and back. And that adds a minute or two to the experience. But it's like I'm in this deep nature in a wooded trail, even though I'm not. I'm in my yard. It feels more special than it probably is, but I think it's really cool.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah, so these have been some things that we are grateful for. We'd love to hear what you are grateful for as well. I guess all of these are kind of our love of the week this week, right? This has sort of been another all love of the week episode. But we have somewhat of a perhaps longer question we wanted to get to it. I know people will have some strong feelings about as well. So we'll go ahead and dive into that one. We had a listener write to us, and we've had questions of this version before as well, that she would like to have a third child. They have 2, sort of the norm. She would like a third. Her partner, not very excited about the idea. Thinks 2 is a good number. So she wanted our advice on either how they could have a discussion about this, or otherwise make your peace with the family size as it is. So, Sarah, you got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I went around in circles thinking about the answer to this question. I guess the first thing I'll say is I don't have personal insight, because when this person wrote to us, she kind of implied that I took Josh on a trip where I then strong-armed him into having
I don't think she's so strong-armed. I think she was looking for what you said on the trip, right? Because you guys had taken a retreat together, and one of your goals is to talk about having a third kid on that.
Even that is more... It wasn't so nefarious about that. I had just, or not nefarious. Like,
not
I wasn't.
nobody was talking nefarious.
Yeah, it wasn't goal directed per se. I had just gotten to a place where I was really excited about the idea. And, when you have 2 young kids at home, it's hard to talk about anything serious or the logistics of how that might work. And so I never felt like we could have those conversations. And we took a trip to Austin, Texas, I believe, in like fall of, must have been 2016, which that math makes sense. And I was like, I really feel pulled to have another child. Like, do you think we can do this? And it wasn't to convince him to do it. I think the difference with us is that Josh was open to having a third. He was afraid that logistically we might not be able to handle it. Like, from a financial perspective, having the childcare that we felt like we needed, just the chaos of him working late, and would I be too stressed out doing things on my own? And so that trip was helpful to kind of nail down what a third kid might actually look like, and, do some math and crunch some numbers and think about things in more detail. Those kind of conversations that take a lot of brain power and a lot of energy and a lot of time that we just didn't have at home. And so I would say it's on that trip that we solidified the idea that we could do it, but I don't feel like I was convincing him of anything other than that it was feasible if he was also interested, which he was. He comes from a family of 3 children. They grew up together with a lot of harmony and love. And I think he, had nothing against the idea of having a 3rd kid, even from the beginning. And before we even started having kids, I had said, I want 3 kids. Then I dialed it down to 2 because I found it so difficult in the beginning. And he went along with that as well. But when we went up to 3, it wasn't that I was convincing someone who was like, nope, too much. I equate this, and I'll stop talking in a second, to not equate, but so my family wants a dog. The kids want a dog. Josh wants a dog, kind of. I do not want a dog. And I know that if we got a dog, that it would be a lot of responsibility on me, no matter what anybody says right now. And by the way, please, dog lovers, don't get mad at me. I could totally see welcoming a dog into our lives at some other point in time. I enjoy other people's dogs, mostly when they're nice.
You enjoy other people's good dogs.
but I just don't want one on my plate right now. Someone would have to strong arm me, but that wasn't what we were dealing with when it came to the kid side of things. And I guess with all that said, I think if someone really is against adding more, someone just really feels maybe like they, and either party, the, male or whichever party of this relationship feels like they just don't want an extra person in their lives, or they just truly don't feel like they have the bandwidth to handle it. I almost feel like the default should be then just wait. At least don't do it at that point when someone adamantly doesn't want it. Because I do think to some extent that's asking a lot from someone. I don't know. See, I can't answer this question.
It's a very hard question. I mean, I think it's just on the practical front. If they're with any negotiation, right? When you are asking someone to do something that they are not currently excited about, it helps to give them a little bit of space about it. And so first, you want to make sure that your partner knows that you do truly want a 3rd. If maybe it's something you've just discussed casually and he's made comments of oh, that would be crazy, or can't imagine, or look at this other family with 3 kids that's going nuts right now. Maybe that's just where you're getting this idea from. So you want to be clear that you want one and you are asking him if he would be open to this. Then as part of that, you say, you don't need to give me an answer right now. Why don't you think about it for some amount of time? I don't know, a month, whatever it is. Let's meet together again in a month and we can talk it through again. But that way, you know that he is at least aware that this is what you truly want, and he needs to think about it for the next month and give you an answer. You can also think about any particular objections that your partner might have, whether that is financial. Does he worry that you will quit your job once you have 3 kids and, your life is based on you being a 2-income family? I think that's a very common one that people have. So that's something that you need to work through. Are you going to quit your job with a 3rd kid? And if your answer is no, I'm actually pretty confident I will be able to manage this unless, there's something, a child has intense special needs or something like that, which is an entirely different thing. But if you assume that it will go sort of in the normal range of things and you're pretty sure you will be able to handle that, something you can bring up with him. Or, have you thought through what the childcare arrangements are going to be? Anything else, like your space. Do you feel like you have enough space? Anyway, think through what these objections are likely to be. And then maybe the 2 of you can kind of work through some strategies together. And so then, in a month or 2, when you have your meeting again, you will know more clearly what his opinion is on this. If it is an absolute no, then probably that's just going to have to be respected. You can leave it open to can we discuss this again in 6 months? But if it is a very strong no and you wish to continue in that relationship, that's probably going to be where it is. But if he seems more open to it, then that's something that then maybe you can start moving forward with. So that would kind of be my suggestion there.
If listeners have input for this one, we would love it, because obviously this is a very kind of tough and sensitive question. And I do feel for this person, because I know I would have been really, really sad if at the time when I really wanted Genevieve, if it had been impossible because I was the only one who wanted that. It would have been really hard. So.
Yeah, no, it is very hard when people want different things, different visions of what their family would look like. And, you may talk early in your relationship about what you want, but people's experience then becomes different once they actually have the kids. I mean, sometimes people are in the abstract like, oh, I'd love a dozen kids. And then they experience what it's like. And they're like, wow, that was a little bit ambitious. But, sometimes people think they'd want just one maybe, and then they totally love the experience or find, the difficulties, able to take them in stride. And so then they wind up having bigger families. So you never really know until you experience it.
It's true.
All right. Well, this has been Best of Both Worlds. We've mostly been talking about giving thanks, our Thanksgiving favorites, the dishes we like. We've been talking about little things that we are grateful for in different realms, and then answering a listener question about wanting a third kid and not knowing that her partner would be on board. So we will be back next week with more on making work and life fit together.
Thanks for listening. You can find me, Sarah, at theshoebox.com or at @the_shoebox on Instagram.
And you can find me, Laura, at lauravanderkam.com. This has been the Best of Both Worlds podcast. Please join us next time for more on making work and life work together.